What's going on, football fans? Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you are in. I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy, and welcome to this week's edition of Thursday Night Gridiron. And I am
Yeehaw.
joined by the second week in a row, because he must be a glutton for punishment, Lawrence Patchman Lang, the president of our network. Patchman, how are you, buddy?
As an old saying goes, Bill, you got to call lefty in sometimes to get the job done. And that's what I'm here to do tonight for 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully next week I get a week off.
And you get to go back in your cave.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back in my cave like Rogers likes to do when the off season hits.
Do you hear voices going, come on, Patch, do it again?
Sometimes I do, but those are the voices inside my head.
They are fighting. Anyway, well, we got a great game ish game for you tonight. We got the 49ers and the Seahawks. Before we get to any of that, there was some big news this week, wasn't there, Patch Man?
Please, to start off on Monday, absolutely. And Danny Boy Reginald in the building. Perfect timing for that, too.
Dude, thank
That
you
is
for coming here
that is the
tonight.
epitome of a perfect timing event here on the
Ladies and
network.
gentlemen, Danny Boy Reginald
Surprise! Hello.
with his salmon shirt.
His salmon colored shirt.
His salmon colored shirt.
Danny Boy, Bill was just about to head off the big news that start off Monday for the NFL. And you appeared just like that. I'm like, that you couldn't time that more perfectly, even if we tried. And we didn't even arrange that. But Bill, continue.
The Danny Boy Reginald. Robert Saleh was fired this week.
He needed to go. It was time. 20-36. It is what it is. You can't tell me that 16 games under 500 in almost 4 seasons is acceptable in the NFL. It's not. It's not acceptable. So he needed to go. Is he the only problem? No, he's not the only problem. We also have issues with the quarterback. One, he's hurt. He gets banged up, and the offensive line doesn't do him any favors. He gets banged up badly. And that I actually do feel bad for Rodgers. But it's also on him because he endorsed this team from the get-go, right?
He has not had a winning season
No,
while he's been the Jets head coach.
Like quarterback.
No, I
So
was talking about Saleh.
I'm talking about the quarterback because I transitioned from Salah to the quarterback. So, yeah, no, the Rodgers also has issues too. But if you're talking about culture and accountability, that's on the coaching. And I don't want to hear, I mean, you're the national media ripping apart the Jets for making this move. Look, we know Rodgers is part of the problem, but Robert Saleh had to go. We needed to make big changes.
What?
We have to hold people accountable for their play. And look, the record says it for itself. It was time to go. So hopefully this will ignite the locker room. We have Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach. He will also retain the title as defensive coordinator. So he'll run the defense and, of course, oversee as much as possible the rest of the team. The Jets also made the move, and Bill, I'll get to you. I know you have a point. They also made the move today to relieve Nathaniel Hackett of his play calling duties. Nathaniel Hackett will still have the title offensive coordinator, but he will not be calling the plays. He'll now go to Todd Downing, who is the passing game coordinator. So just wanted to add a little bit to that. But
That was
hopefully these
yeah,
changes
that
are
news
good.
came out today.
Yeah. Bill.
Yes, I just want to say, and listen, as a neutral party here, I'm a Giants fan, but I think this was the right decision. Robert Saleh is 20-36 in his time in New York. 20-36. Like this guy has got to go. And a lot of people have said, well, Aaron Rodgers was running the show and he probably had Saleh fired. No, he has come out and said that's not the case.
Yeah. It's probably he probably had something to, I think this was a Woody decision. I think Woody's fed up. Like I really do believe that. I don't
And
think I don't think Woody would just be like, "Hey Aaron, what do you want to do?" No. I think he made that decision on his own. Patch.
I mean, you can throw in the 20-36 record for Salah, and it wasn't that good, but he wasn't that bad last year for the situation that transpired with Rodgers going down 4 plays in the season. The Jets had what, 7 wins last season? Good.
Yeah.
The momentum was there for the Jets last season. Opening night against the Bills. Yes, they won that game after Rodgers went down, but the momentum was there last season. Like that was going to be the birth of the Jets postseason and maybe going on a run to a Super Bowl or well, we even go with an AFC Championship game appearance, and then that all got faulted when Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon. But Salah in that situation, turned to Zach Wilson, and we'll say they cooked a little last season.
Yeah.
Still got 7 wins. Hey, for what could have been what it could have been for them, they
Mhm.
could have easily gone 0 and whatever, or even maybe just 2 wins on the season. But they didn't. They got through the debacle. What happened with Rodgers, even though it wasn't a debacle, it was a fluke injury that, happened. Sometimes the turf monster gets you and you go down.
Yeah.
But there was a glimmer of hope for Salah to be saved, but then this season started and it was just, you know what? It is time for a change.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And look, I think he seems like a very nice guy. He doesn't seem like a bad person. He doesn't, he obviously loves his players. He was a player's coach, and that has been the case throughout his entire coaching career. Players coach always has their backs, so he's a nice guy. But how do you go from nice guy, yes man, to a hard ass, not an asshole, but a hard ass? Get in your face and get some order into the franchise for success.
Oh,
Robert
absolutely.
Saleh had at least 3 seasons to do that. This was his year to prove that he can take control of the locker room. And he didn't do that. Again, part of it is because Aaron Rodgers is here. So, of course, Rodgers is going to be calling a lot of these shots. We have to cater to him. But Salah also has to keep things controlled. There is a coaching element here, and he was not good at that. It sucks for Salah personally because again he's a nice guy, but his coaching record is his coaching record, and not having people ready for games, the penalties, the game plan, not even considering a change in offensive coordinator. I know there were reports out there that Salah had thought about firing Hackett. I don't know. Again, I don't know. There's a lot of BS reporting going on about the Jets, mainly because the media hates the Jets, so they'll do anything and everything to make sure that they put a bad name on that franchise.
And
And you guys know that's true.
there's also reports going around that Islamic civil rights groups
Yeah,
are
which that's another BS nonsense too. But
that they want us that they're looking into the Jets, or I heard they're going to
yeah,
sue him because they fired him because he had the Lebanese
they
flag on his.
no.
I don't know how true that is. Somebody
No,
told
it's
me
not
because they read
true.
it online and I looked it into
That
it.
bullshit was started by WFAN, and we need to hold them accountable because they're the ones that started poking that bear too. So,
And I
um,
just want to say, Reg, I'm sorry if I acknowledge that. I just
no. I mean, to me, it's a non-story. It's just not true. Because you do know that the NFL has been trying to get players and coaches to have their flags of the countries that they're either descendants from or that they're from. Like the NFL has been trying to do that for years. They did that last year. So Robert Saleh, while he was coaching the Jets,
Has
at
had that.
some point he's had that Lebanese flag on his shirt or sweater. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. I don't want
Okay.
to hear it. So just another thing. Sorry.
So, real quick, guys. Will Bill Belichick be the Jets head coach next year?
No, he isn't like the Jets.
Never know.
But why would you've hated the Jets for over 20, 25 years. Why would you go to a team that you absolutely hate? That doesn't make any sense. You have a lot of bad blood with the Jets, and you soured a lot of relationships. I wouldn't do it. I don't know if it's the right pick for them.
Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I give it a 5% chance.
Hey, if there's a 5% chance, I mean, there's a chance. I mean, look, you never know. I mean, maybe Bill has lost it, but I really think he knows the Giants' job's going to be open. I think he would much rather a reunion with the Giants than the Jets.
Bill's worst enemy comes to New York.
But
If he
is
can
it a
help,
worst
then
enemy,
God
though?
bless him.
Is it a worst enemy? I mean, he loved the Giants.
He did.
Well, Cleveland's up 2-1 on the side note to all you baseball fans if you're
Yeah,
watching.
how about that? Jose Ramirez. Oh, back to football.
But
Back to football.
yeah. But who knows? Whatever can happen happens. And next question. And then before we get into tonight's game, do you think there will be any other coach fired before the end of the season? Or do you think we're gonna have to wait till Black Monday?
The Black Monday.
The only other person, Brian Dable.
Black Monday.
I'm thinking too. I'm thinking there's a chance that either Doug Peterson.
But why? Like, why?
Jags got off to a terrible start. They missed the playoffs last season.
Okay, but so have other teams. I mean, no.
And I could pick the easiest pick of the world, Dave Canales.
They're not firing.
Oh, I beg to differ.
It's year one of his
Solely on the case that Dave Canales is because David Tepper is a moron.
in year one of a rebuild.
Matt Rule, Frank Reich.
Yeah, but Matt Rule had 2 seasons. He had a good team. Matt Rule had a winning at a ball club that was supposed to win.
Frank Reich.
Okay, but that was an overreaction. That was because the owner was stupid. Matt Rule had a team that should have won a lot of games.
Okay. So we're going to have to wait till Black Monday,
I think we need to be more patient with this Panthers team because this Panthers team could win games. You need to be a little more patient. They're retooling the franchise. I'm not saying that the ownership is doing the right thing. I'm just saying you just gotta give them a little bit more grace. So I don't think it's a little fair to fire coach. You know, it's not like a Nathaniel Hackett situation where again, good enough teams to win and your ass gets tossed because your team sucks and coaching sucks. Yeah, Black Monday. I don't think teams are as dysfunctional as the Jets are.
Okay. Now, getting into this week, Seattle and San Francisco. Recapping games last week, the Seattle Seahawks lost to my beloved New York Giants 29-20. Geno Smith threw 28 for 40, one touchdown, 284 yards. Jackson Smith Nugba scored one touchdown. The 49ers lost to the Arizona Cardinals. Brock Purdy, 19 for 35, 240 yards and 64 yards and 1 touchdown from George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams coming off a loss. Anyway, with San Francisco's now starting 2-3. Reggie, is San Francisco still the team to beat in the NFC?
No. I think the team to beat, and call me crazy, not just because I live here, but call me crazy. I think it's the Commanders.
No, they've been getting off to a hot start.
I
Jaden
really think,
Daniels has been.
yeah, fire, dude. Like fire. No, I think the Commanders are the team to beat. I'm not sold on the Vikings. I know the Vikings are 5-0, but the Vikings, there's 2 straight games where they almost blew like bad leads to teams that they are supposed to be superior to, right?
Yes.
So, excuse me. So I don't trust the Vikings much. I trust the Commanders. The Commanders have faced some really good teams and have been good teams, and they have a big matchup on Sunday against the Ravens. So I believe the Commanders are the team to beat. Niners are I don't know what's wrong with the Niners this year. I know injuries are definitely a part of it, but they're at the bottom of that list, or towards the bottom of the list, excuse me. You know, they're one of the bottom teams right now. And they have major problems. They have major injury problems. They have major problems on offense. They have major problems on defense. Maybe not so much the defense, definitely more on the offense. They got to score more. And that's very noticeable. So I'm actually very, very concerned about the 49ers right now.
No, I agree with you. I think the team to beat is, listen, you're going to call me crazy and you say you're not sold on them. I think Minnesota's the team to beat right now.
But Darnold had a terrible game on Sunday against the Jets. He's lucky that pick six happened. Do you realize how much that pick six by Aaron Rodgers was massive for Minnesota?
Oh, it was.
Massive. That's the difference between winning a game and the Jets coming down the field with about 4 minutes or so to go to tie the game or take the lead. So he is praising the high heavens, thanking the high heavens that early in the game Aaron Rodgers threw a pick.
Okay, yeah, Darnold had a bad game, doesn't
Well,
everyone?
but Darnold, he's had this was not his finest moment. I'm talking consistency. Who's been more consistent as a quarterback? The rookie in Washington or 8 7 8 year pro bouncing around, pretty much a journeyman at this point.
Okay, point
Daniels,
taken, point taken.
100%. And the Commanders' defense is also lethal too, man.
Oh, they are. So I'm I am a both for good choice. Patch.
If he's there, I don't know if he's there. He's not there right now.
Okay. So next question. Who's more important to get going? Debo or Ayuk?
Both need to get going.
Oh, absolutely.
Ayuk, get him going.
Debo as well. I think Debo's getting off an injury, as so is Ayuk, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean, if any, really, it's both. But Ayuk is an explosive player, and he needs to prove that contract that he got too.
And Debo's getting up there in age, so
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go with Ayuk because, like you said, explosive. I'm, but yeah, this whole San Francisco team in general is just like I said. Somebody on SNF this past week said that they're probably the best two win team out there, but I
I
don't know if
mean,
that's saying
they
much.
can prove that tonight. They can prove it tonight if they win.
Then there'll be a 3 win team.
But that's my point. They're saying they're best 2-win team. Prove it tonight. You know,
Who do the 49ers need more? McCaffrey or Hargrave?
I think they need the coaching more. Players are one thing. Coaching's got to get their heads out of their asses too. Because the fact that the Niners haven't had great showings of late, again, injuries are one thing, but your player the league doesn't give a shit. Excuse my language. League doesn't give a shit. So I think the coaching needs to show up. It's not about players. It's about coaching. How do you get these players in line? How do you set them up? And then Brock Purdy too. What's wrong with him? How come he's not going crazy?
He better be going crazy this week for one reason. He's my backup QB for my fantasy team, and Mahomes has a bye week. So Purdy, do something.
Yeah.
Freaking do something.
Just throwing that out there.
No, I absolutely agree. So anyway, flipping it to the Seahawks for a minute. Coming off their loss against the Giants and then their loss the week before, have the Seahawks now been exposed? We'll start with Patchman since he's been away for the last few minutes.
Well, sorry, nature called. I mean, it's tough looking at the Seahawks right now because they're a great team on paper. Geno Smith, resurgence of career. They have the wide receivers. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, Najiba. It's there on paper. It's just executing when you need to execute. Granted, this past Sunday, blocked field goal, Giants run it back. That seals the deal in the game. Who knows what would have happened if that field goal was made? Maybe the Giants, they force overtime. Well, they would have forced overtime, and then we're looking at a different situation, different conversation this week if the Seahawks win that game. But they don't. Okay, blocked field goals happens. It's one of those rarities in the league now. Okay, you can't fault anybody. You blame your O-line for giving up the blocked field goal, then it's ran back for a touchdown. At 3-2 right now, I'm still sold on the Seahawks. They're first in the West right now. The rest of the West is still trying to find their identity right now. The 49ers, I think are more being exposed right now than they are. LA's lost in the mix. And it's just like excuse me, just like the Bills, it's their division to lose right now. So I gotta see what happens after tonight. If they lose tonight, maybe I will reconsider my analysis. But for now, I think they still haven't been exposed.
Reggie, what do you think?
About Sorry, I was entering a text.
Have the Seahawks been exposed?
No.
Okay, how come?
Well, they had a bad game against the Giants. But I mean, it's not that they expose how though. I mean, I think everyone knows who they are. It's not necessarily about, them starting off well, then they're showing their true colors. I don't think that's been the case. I just think they took advantage of the fact that they first 3 games was against Denver, who's starting to show up, but they're not that great. New England sucks. They barely won that game, but they suck. And then the Miami Dolphins are in such a terrible place right now. So they got lucky the first 3 weeks, and then they faced better team in Detroit, and they lost that game. And then they faced the Giants. The Giants who, when the quarterback is rolling, the quarterback is rolling. It's a good team. So, And look, it doesn't mean that the Giants are going to be playoff team or anything, but I think the Giants, you know, NFC wise, they can have a chance as long as they stay consistent and they don't go too much off the rails. Um, so no, I think a lot of it is also the fact that maybe this team, wasn't good to begin with, and they got lucky. So it's not about being exposed. They are who they are.
Well, you know what? Coming up, the Seahawks, they got Atlanta, then they got the Bills,
Mm-hmm.
then they got Los Angeles, and then they got San Fran again. And then they have the Arizona Cardinals. And then Reggie's Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't think necessarily they've been exposed, but I think we should keep an eye on them these next couple games though.
But I think it'll be more telling if they lose badly tonight. But if it's a competitive game against two teams that, one that's not very good, the other one that's banged up, like yeah, I would see that. Like I could see that as probably who they are. If they beat up the Niners, that speaks more to the Niners than it does to the Seahawks. Um, and if they lose badly, then maybe you are right, Bill. Maybe being exposed is probably a thing that we need to worry about with Seattle.
I can see I could see that. Like I would just say let's look at the next couple games and go from there. All right. Next up. Okay. Where would you put these two teams in the NFC?
What do you mean?
Like, how would you rank these guys?
I mean, if you're looking at it overall, it's a tough question to ask, Bill.
I mean,
Like if we're ranking them in the NFC,
it's a,
I mean, there's a couple of teams that are better than them that on paper.
it's tough to say because especially with the Niners, if they had a fully healthy team, they are obviously better than what their record is. So
Yeah,
I just don't know right now.
I mean, out of 16 teams, I probably put them 10, 11 right now. I mean, according to ESPN, they got Seattle ranked fourth right now, but I think that's only because of points favored and points against.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, obviously, right now they're not 1 and 2 because Minnesota and Washington. But I would say they're like 10, 11, if not 9, 10. They're not bottom of the barrel because there are some horrendous teams right out in the NFC right now. But they're
Well,
like 9, 10.
right now, who do you think has a better chance of going to the playoffs, though?
Seattle. See,
Yeah.
Seattle right now because Brock Purdy's not playing Brock Purdy football like we're used to seeing. He's kind of, he's come out from being Mr. Irrelevant to, he's relevant. He's not irrelevant, but he's just middle of the pack quarterback right now. And he's waiting for everyone to become back healthy. Yeah, your run game is, down in the dumps right now because McCaffrey's out still, which is now becoming a roaring occurrence with him. So,
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think the thing is these teams are just, like I said, they're just very middle of the pack. I don't think it's anything that's going to be too exciting, but that's where we are. All
to,
right.
to, to use a pro wrestling term right now, they're both mid.
My brother says that a lot.
They're
Mid.
mid. They're mid.
Mid. They're mid. Well, anyway, excuse me. All right. What is the X factor for tonight's games? For both teams.
I mean, if Gino can find, DK, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, you're he'll be good to go. Even if he can find no offense, if he can find those guys in receiving, to me, they should easily run away with the team because right now they are the better team on paper. Kenneth Walker's doing all right with them, 4 touchdowns on the season already. And also, if Gino can escape the pocket and get running, we see Gino recently be a good mobile quarterback,
Yeah.
especially being up there a little bit in age.
Yeah, Geno Smith has to take control. I feel like he lost his way a little bit against the Giants. If he can get back that control and feed his receivers, feed his running back, uh, he'll be fine. But also, the defense has to come through. There's no excuse here for the defense. The Niners are in disarray. They, again, a lot of the issues they have right now, it happens, but get it done, man. It was very disappointing their defensive performance against the Giants. So I would say those. And then the Niners side, if we want to go San Francisco, um, Brock Purdy has got to be better, and the team has to close out games. That's another issue with the Niners. They don't close out well, and they allow teams to stay in it. So, like they did with the Jet game, take advantage early if there are any advantages, and stay the course. Be true to yourselves, and you know, when you have a lead, keep the lead.
I think that's fair to say. I think the key for Seattle is gonna be like what Patchy said, trying to hit Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I think that's gonna be a big thing. All right, what's the X factor for San Francisco?
So I already gave my San Francisco one.
Patchman.
Sorry, sending a text to a friend about the Aurora Boreolas that are going on outside right now. He says he's like, get your ass outside to take photos. And I'm like, I will once I'm done doing my live show with my friends. I mean, X Factor tonight, you're looking at Brock Purdy right now, Brock Purdy, on the season, 6 touchdowns so far through 5 games and 4 interceptions. That's not good for Brock Purdy like we're used to seeing. Granted, he's only been sacked 12 times, but he's the X factor right now for them. He has to find, Gerard Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Debo. And then he's got, the running game also has to step up. Jordan Mason and Isaac Garendo have to step up big time here tonight, too.
I'm going to agree with you on that because they got to feel, because they got to carry the team because McCaffrey's going to be out for the year.
Is that confirmed?
Well, not. Well, he's going to be out for a while. I'm sorry. I thought I heard. So, because McCaffrey's going to be out for a while, don't know if he's going to be out for the year. I apologize. Okay. Now, prediction time. Danny Boy Edge.
Seattle's going to win this one. Right now, there's just too many holes with San Francisco. The loss against the Cardinals told me a lot about San Francisco. There's too many holes. I trust Seattle more, giving Seattle. And look, I want to be wrong because going into the season, I actually like San Francisco. Despite a lot of their offseason drama, I actually like San Francisco. But like I said, injuries and the team just they're just not, cooperating well with the season. They're not all there. I don't trust it. Give me Seattle. I say Seattle wins by at least a touchdown.
Patchman.
It's Seattle's game to lose. Like Danny Boy said, San Francisco's just beat up right now on everything. They're down a couple players that are holding them back for probably being, 3-2, if not 4-1. I'm not saying undefeated, but sometimes injuries kill momentum for a team, and right now that's just doing it for San Francisco. Seattle should come away with the win tonight. I would say maybe if it's anything like last Thursday night football, who knows what will happen. But if we're looking at a score wise, I would say 27-17 Seattle.
I'm gonna go with Seattle as well. Like I said, just with how San Fran's been playing so far, I don't trust them at the moment. I think Seattle is gonna be fair much better. I'm gonna say Seattle 27, San Fran 20. Okay, so if you guys want to see more, go to www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Check out our blogs, check out our history. If you check out our socials, and don't forget to check us out on Facebook. And most importantly, check us out on here. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and don't forget Sunday Sideline Report, Sunday mornings at 10 here on that Cyan on YouTube. For Danny Boy Reginald and Lawrence Patchman Lang, I'm Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy. Stay safe. Take care.